Hey everyone. So, we have thoughts, but before we get to them, just want to say hi to everyone in the chat. See why so curious is here tonight. See deliciously odd. Why not Yvonne? Anna, Rendy talks horror, and Mira Khan. I feel very similarly to this. I think D&D from Got wrote this season.
Yeah, me too.
Um, yeah, so I'm just gonna say my initial thoughts off the top before we kind of like go in and like break down like the episode a little bit more. Um, so as a whole, since the season is complete now, I get what they were going for by calling it a double feature because it's two different stories, which a double feature is. Like, I got that. However, I thought the way the first half went, I was like, that was so strong until the last 20 minutes. Like that first half, Red Tide was like one of the best writing I've seen in the series in a while, minus the last 20 minutes. So in my brain, I'm like, there's no way they ended Red Tide like that. Double Tide's gonna have to connect back to it. Like Death Valley's gonna have to connect to Red Tide. There's no way they're leaving it like that. Yeah, I was wrong. I was grossly misled and had slightly higher hopes than I should have. But what is, I mean, I feel like they self sabotage themselves a lot. I mean, look at Apocalypse, how that went. So, Death Valley, I liked all the black and white stuff. I'll continue on that. Present day was the present day. And Gray, I'm gonna let you get some stuff off your chest.
Go. I'm so sick of these shows, yo, that I like invest time into. So American Horror Story, been watching it since season 1 and it has progressively gotten worse. And this season doesn't even resemble old school AHS. Like I used to think, I ain't even gonna say which season I used to think was the worst. It's this one now. This is the worst.
Really?
This is the worst season. Red Tide had so much potential and so much things they could have done with that. They should have just continued Red Tide for the 4 more episodes and they could have told a good story there instead of like doing like a branch off into Death Valley to tell some bullshit ass conspiracy theory. Like they basically did a conspiracy theory Pinterest board. That was that was Death Valley. A whole bunch of conspiracy theories just slapped onto a Pinterest board with a story that no one really gave a fuck about. Like it within 4 episodes, I don't feel like you can even invest in the story in 4 episodes.
It's hard. You gotta have less characters, I think, if you're gonna do all that.
But it's just like if you like I don't even understand how these people get jobs because like I seen comments in my comment section. Like I saw somebody put it over here. Like I've seen comments from fans, like fan theories that are that's way better writing than the shit that we just saw. Like they really showed us the long way around that humans made a pact with aliens and they've been trying for all of these years to make this specimen. And then once they make it, they put like a ball on the girl's head and make her into a machine. And now they're going to kill everybody on her. Like, that's so basic and corny. And it's not.
I couldn't agree more with this comment. C says, this is Ryan Murphy saying wanted aliens back. Well, here, take this. And
Yeah.
that's what we got. Honestly, I 100% agree. I think Tide on its own would have been a very solid series. Because then they could have done that little time jump thing that they wanted to do with the original 4 episodes to even have that even make sense.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
feel like Yeah, Death Valley to me felt more American Horror Stories than American Horror Story,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
And that's all they should have just made it an episode of American Horror Stories. Like, that's what it feels
Seriously.
like. It feels like it was I'm gonna tell you, the shit, all of it feels incomplete. It feels like they ran out of ideas with Red Tide and was like, okay, we have 4 more episodes, so we need to fill something in here. Like it and Ryan Murphy wasn't even the writer. Like, he didn't write anything in Death Valley.
Oh, that's because he was too focused on American Crime Story. Because he's like, that's where my awards are is over there. So, and just by the
Ivy
way,
just
that is coming out really well. Like the American Crime Story impeachment. Oh, it's
I
good. You
bet.
guys don't.
I bet
Yeah,
because he's working on it. Come work on American Horror Stories. Ivy just said in the comments, to be honest, I feel like Ryan Murphy is super uninvolved with these projects. It seems like the episodes are always produced, written by someone else. His focus is more on crime story and pose.
yeah,
And that's how that's how Game of Thrones fell off because Dan and Dave wanted to move on to other projects and be
yeah.
done with Game of Thrones. They wanted to move on to Star Wars and some stupid ass Confederacy show that they had pitched. Like it
And both
was
got dropped.
both got dropped, yeah. So it's just like when these people are tired of doing what made them famous or what made them known, then maybe they should pass the buck to someone of equal caliber as them.
Yes, I feel like there's. I don't want to put it. There's like a line where you can kind of see where things started to change in the quality of writing overall for the
Yes.
series. But I have something coming up actually about that. I'm gonna do a video ranking the series from each season, and since we got 10, nice little top 10 coming for you guys soon. And yeah, this finale episode totally shifted things around a little bit, just a little bit for me. I'll be honest, this was in a very interesting spot. It because I will say I really enjoyed Red Tide a lot.
Me too.
Minus that 20 minutes. Like if I just pretend that 20 minutes at the end didn't happen, one of the best things they've done in a long time.
Yeah, it
But
is.
anyways, let's like since we went on our little rant, let's get into the episode a little bit. So
Yes.
we jump to 1972. Nixon is currently president, and they have protesters outside for the Vietnam War. And fun fact, I blah, 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 Ike Eisenhower, he passes away. I believe it's the first year of Nixon's presidency. Yeah, so he dies around the time that Nixon is elected, and we see Nixon in the office, and he is talking to Henry Kissinger, who is a reptile changeling, this species they decided to introduce this episode. I'm assuming when a couple episodes ago, remember how when they well, it was last episode, there's only been three other ones, not that far.
Yeah.
But when they had the room with all the fetuses and we're like, oh, those look like two different species.
Hmm.
I think one of those species was that reptile species.
Yeah. Because they made a pact with Thor, Thornton's, what is it? Valorant Thor.
Valiant Thor.
Yeah,
Yes,
they made a
Cody
pact
Farron.
with him.
But yeah, so my thing is it's the last episode. Why are we introducing this new faction adversary? Like
It's
why?
it's point like
Why?
it's pointless.
There was
It's
literally
pointless.
no need to introduce this, like at all,
I guess
whatsoever.
I guess for a reason, the reason they introduced it was for to have a reason to have a reason to turn on the Americans or the humans. They got the reason from these lizard people, so they introduced these lizard people. They could have just like altogether just had said we turning on you just because we're turning on you. We don't need you
Yeah,
anymore.
Four, I agree, not the lizard people. Is it four or Ivy? Well, I agree, not the lizard people, because what? Why? And I think the turning on them thing, or maybe a way to show that they can cohabitate with another species, they just don't like the humans. Oh, actually, C brought up a good comment. The reptilians aren't even the Nords or the Greys, both species of aliens. They're not. They're like some type of scroll shape shifting thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
It
actually,
was
hold on.
it
What
was
were you gonna say?
pretty I was gonna say it was pretty lame.
It was pretty. It was super super lame. Um, actually, jumping a little bit, I totally agree. I honestly thought they'd connect by Mamie escaping and she was TV Karen how somehow. I did too. That going into the last 20-minute marker, I literally texted Gray and I'm like, oh, they might be able to do it. They might connect it. They might connect it. And
They didn't.
they didn't.
And we were
Anyways,
like,
moving on.
well,
Well, well, moving on. Sorry, this is turning into like a roast session on the low. But so go 3 years later, we see Eisenhower in the hospital with Mammy, like making this little, what are those called? When people sew, like the little circle. Whatever. She's showing a little picture because she's trying to make evacuation day hot. And as somebody that grew up in Massachusetts and in the Massachusetts public school system, the city of Boston was the only place that actually got evacuation day off from school. Like nobody else did. It was just Boston, and evacuation day falls on St. Patrick's Day. So with Massachusetts, we have a really high Irish population in Boston, especially. I just assumed that evacuation day was another excuse to also have St. Patrick's Day off. So I don't know why she's trying to make it hot. Obviously, it didn't get hot, but
no, it did.
nah, it's just try. But she got, she said she got birthdays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and the color pink.
Oh, girl, she loves pink.
She's an OG influencer,
She's
actually,
like
if you think
fucking
about it.
she's like Trisha Paytas. She's like Trisha
Is
Paytas. Mamie Eisenhower in her pink palace.
love that for her and her and her nice little tunic. But we'll get to the tunic in a second. So they're in the hospital. Valiant Thor shows up, and he pretty much offers to save Ike. And he's like, you don't have to go out like this. We can take you to Area 51. You can live forever. Essentially, living forever just means you become a part of this like program.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd rather not, and he regrets, signing that treaty. But if we look at it, it doesn't look like they had much of a choice, anyways.
They didn't. I mean, one twist of the hand and heads were exploding, so what are you really gonna do?
Yeah, you really can't. It's like that scene in The Boys. I forgot the lady's name, and she starts like exploding heads in like a courtroom. It's kind of like freaky, actually. But he eventually just dies, and he's like, nah, I'd just rather die. And Mammy's like, well, I don't want to go out like that, and I want to live forever. Which, I mean, she got like after 60, 50, 60 years out of it. Could have got more, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. So we see during Nixon's presidency that essentially they were making him the distraction in the whole Watergate scandal, and they had it as the whole conspiracy that rather than him spying on Democrats, that he was actually spying on or trying to blow the cover on the aliens, which obviously they knew that he was going to do because they kind of set him up to do it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And Mammy is apparently Deep Throat. So just piling on the conspiracy theory train there.
I mean, god damn. There's like excuse my language, but there's like 70 different conspiracy theory. Like not 70, that's an exaggeration, but there's so many conspiracy theories in this that it's tacky, kind of.
Yeah, it's too much. They like keep piling them on.
Like, pick one and exploit it. Forget the rest
Yeah,
of them.
or even like like two or three, but they have like five an episode, and there's only four episodes. Like it's
Yeah.
very heavy-handed with the the spoilers, the conspiracies. It's too much. It's just way too much.
Yeah, like why so curious said it's overdone.
It really is. It's like a well done steak. Like you ruined it. Should have just left it the other way.
Medium rare.
Exactly. But moving on from that, um, so if you're not familiar with the whole Watergate scandal, that is why President Nixon decided to resign rather than going through the whole impeachment process. He just was like, I quit. However, the aliens apparently were the reason behind that. Because again, conspiracy theories, because that's the season. It's not really Death Valley, it's conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what they should
so
have just called
they should have just called it that. Like I don't see why they didn't call it
it. I'm
conspiracy
surprised they
theory.
didn't have like
Like on that
Illuminati.
line. Yeah, but actually, speaking of Death Valley, it jumps to 1979. We get the death of Mamie Eisenhower, and she gets brought to Area 51. And there's a really like interesting line there where she says, "I wonder what draws people to the desert." And that's when Valiant Thor says that the reason why they're drawn to that area is because their planet looks like a desert. It's like barren and
Mm,
vacant and dusty. So is it Mars, you think? Are they Martian?
Mars. Yeah, I would think Mars because Jupiter's like straight up gas.
Yeah.
Saturn's like the same. Yeah, I would think Mars.
Yeah. That would be my guess, unless they're
No,
like
it's
outside of our
Arrakis.
system.
It's Arrakis.
It is Arrakis. Actually, I like to think that it's Arrakis and that they're like some mutated Fremen.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Arrakis, Dune comes out tomorrow.
I have my tickets this time tomorrow. I'll be watching Dune. I'm so excited about that. Something to actually look forward to.
Some good writing, guys. Go watch Dune.
Yay! Go watch Dune, please. Watch Dune either, in the theaters or stream it, whatever you got to do to watch it, just watch it. Oh, actually, East Serenity 4.0 has a good point. Or they're not in the Milky Way. That is probably the actual real answer because if they have this type of technology, I'm assuming they can travel at like light speed. So
Yeah, that's
probably outside
true.
of our solar system or galaxy.
That's true.
Ooh, oh, see, I did forget about that. Why so curious? Martians were sucking faces in Invincible too. Yes, they were. Because we see obviously the little demon hybrid baby thing that Cal gave birth to last episode. You know what? Let's just actually jump to that little part there.
Yeah, because that
So
was wild.
yeah, so we get to Area 51. Mammy's there. She is in this very bright, well, we don't see it to the present day, bright pink tunic with some nice like embellishment on it. I actually was kind of feeling it. It's giving me like a nice, vacation vibes. I like that for her.
Yeah.
And she meets Calico, and Calico pretty much is like, "Oh, I always liked you, even though my friends liked Jackie." And she was like, you could see her face, like when she said Jackie, she's like, did you notice
Jeffree
that?
Star. She's Jeffree Star.
She's like,
Mamie.
ew. Oh yeah, she is. So they become friends, and then we fast forward to present day. Alarms are going off, and we pick up where it left off last week after Cal and Troy got killed by the baby because Troy thought he was an obstetricianist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, the comment for my pussy stinks bad. How was the
Hey,
baby the perfect hybrid, but the one the first guy gave birth to wasn't? And I agree because what was his name? The first guy,
Troy.
Troy. Troy's baby did look normal. I don't think we could see the feet though.
Yeah, they said, I think it was like, it was Troy, then Jamie, then eventually Kendall's that ends up being the perfect baby. But Troy and Jamie's, they said kept getting like closer and closer. Cal's was like a deviation from it.
And why did they kill Jamie? Like why did they start killing them? Because at first we see them giving birth to the babies and the babies are born. They kill the babies, but then they started like they killed Jamie and then they killed well, we know why they killed the other mother.
Yeah.
The first baby had regular feet. Yeah, I don't know why they killed that baby.
Yeah, I don't think you burning daylighter. Yeah, the first baby did have regular. I don't. They're haters. I don't know. Maybe because it's boys, like they're sexists. I don't. I don't know. I don't understand why. Because that baby was super cute.
Yeah, it was. And I
Yeah,
was so mad about that.
me too. Honestly, I think the reason they killed Jamie was due to the fact that first of all, Kendall was the one saying it, not Jamie, but she's like, "We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna escape." And Jamie the whole time was like, "I think we should just like take it how it is and roll with it." And I think they just killed her by association.
Oh, they just killed that friend group. So it was like they let
Yeah,
Calico and all those other people stay there, but they just like straight up killed them. Well, you don't need your head anymore. Psh,
yeah. Ooh, this is a great question by Doctor Superstition. Also, why was Theta spared?
right. Because she clearly looks fucked up.
And
Like
she is a hybrid. She admits that she's a hybrid. Like towards the end of the episode when she's like, "Oh, my humanity is my weakness." So I wonder if it's 'cause she's like an earlier test subject that like let those ones live a little longer to see how they reacted, and then I don't know.
maybe I it was kind of confusing because Theta clearly got mad when the police came in or the guards came in and shot the baby that was sucking people's faces off.
Yes.
She got mad. She was like, "That was excessive." And he was like, "What did you want us to do?" And she was like, "Kill the guy, not the baby." But y'all gonna kill the baby anyway, so why does it fucking matter?
Yeah, unless like they specifically need to slice it by like its throat or something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, you were gonna kill it. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter which way it died. But I guess maybe because it's like has a bunch of bullet holes in it, so they're not really able to study it as well.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But basic ass Kendall ends up having. I'm sorry, her character's
I
so
thought it was
basic.
gonna be Jamie.
I did too, because Jamie, I was like, okay, she was the one. But we should have known because they made Kendall seem like the protagonist.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just she's very grayish to me. She's like she reminds me of like Doris from part one. Like she's just there. Like I, but Lily Rabe's Lily Rabe, but like Lily Rabe did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah. So she gives birth to this perfect hybrid, and they decide to turn her into a baby making machine. So they laser off her head and put this big silver ball thing on top of her neck.
I literally when they did that, I text Ara LMAO. Like
Yeah. I was like, is this like a gazorp? Like, I have no idea what's happening here. Oh,
oh, so
that's
crazy.
yeah, like what the hell Rick and Morty's happening? Like I do not understand this. And it was like,
Dr. Superstition said, "What was the reason behind giving Jamie the allergy to baby yogurt?" Just a throwaway joke. It seems so because they made it like,
I thought it was to show maybe why but see if they didn't make all of them pregnant, it would have made more sense
yeah.
to show
So,
like, oh, if she was the only one that she
mhm.
didn't naturally get pregnant because she's allergic to the person's thing, so she had a reaction at a pregnancy. But
But the way that she was like so nonchalant and the way that like you pointed out she was the only one outside of the car, and her being allergic to baby yogurt, like I thought it was pointing towards Jamie being the one that was going to conceive the hybrid, but it wasn't.
Yeah, honestly, once I saw them go to her first, I was like, oh, yeah, no, she's dead. It's not her. It's Kendall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Jamie. But she was, closer. She was like runner up, I guess.
Why so curious that my boyfriend walked out and said, I don't know what the fuck you watching. I'm gonna leave you to it.
No, seriously, because what did we all just watch?
It's just I lost interest in it about the second episode, and I only watched it. I only continued to watch it to be able to, talk to you guys about it, and because I'm a huge American Horror Story fan, and I wanted it to, pay off, and I was hoping that it would pay off, but I'm not surprised that it didn't. But
Yeah.
and another reason that I'm kind of tight about it is I thought they were gonna like I was never big on having aliens or talking about aliens. The only thing that I liked about the fact that there was going to be an alien season was the potential for it to tie into Asylum, and we finally figure out like what all happened to Kit and his kids, and like it was just so much
Okay.
potential that they didn't use. So it's like
I'd
sad.
rather have had a fully fleshed out Red Tide season
Yes. Yes.
and save this, make it an American Horror Stories thing. That'd have been fine with me. That'd have been perfectly fine. Also, Jessica Mayberry. I'm also glad Kendall's douchebag boyfriend wasn't seen past that first episode.
Girl, same.
Same. And again, I really think did they only just throw him in there to have them not have their phones on the trip?
I think.
It wouldn't have even really mattered
And
because they're
it didn't even
birds.
matter. It didn't even matter because, like, they never needed to use their phones for an emergency call or anything.
No,
They
not at all.
they never even tried to.
And they had a whole additional year. Anyways, so after um Kendall, I almost forgot the girl's name, becomes a baby resort machine for the aliens and the human hybrids. Um, we see that it is Mammy's birthday that same day.
And she has a pink cupcake.
Of course, she has a pink cupcake. But know what? Calico worked really, really hard to get her that cupcake. And
Mhm.
it could have been one of those gross little cube things.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, because I looked it up, her birthday is November 14th, 1896. Wow, that's a long
So
time ago.
Scorpios. The hybrids are Scorpios.
So, the hybrids are Scorpio babies. Go figure. Demon children. Anyways,
Go figure
nothing
that
against the
she's a Scorpio.
Scorpios, but oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now it
It,
all makes sense.
the math on that one. So, we see it's her birthday. They come in. They're like, oh, hey, the first hybrid was born. And she's like, wait, what? So she gets to see the baby. She's all excited about it. And then Valiant Thor drops the bomb on her that, hey, guess what? We don't need you guys anymore at all. Like, all of you guys are going to go extinct because you're fired. Essentially, he says, he's like, humans are the gardeners and you're fired. So the aliens and the reptile changelings are going to inhabit the earth, use Kendall's body to repopulate it with the hybrids, and kill all of the humans.
Mm.
Yeah.
What a
And
corny.
then,
What a what a generic ass.
oh, and then we get the little false hope that maybe, just maybe, that Mamie and Calico can come together with Theta to, put a stop to it by killing, the hybrid baby and the hybrid baby mommy machine. And that's when Theta's like, no, I'm not on your side. You guys are horrible humans. You guys are destroying your planet. You guys can barely get along with each other, let alone get along like with a whole different like species. We don't need you. You guys have inferior technology, so you gotta go. And her head. And Calico gets offered to, raise the babies, and she takes that offer. And that's Death Valley in a nutshell. Yeah.
A fifth grader could have wrote it.
I think a fifth grader would have probably did a better job than that, honestly. Missy, I completely agree. Why did they not connect the two stories? It would have been so easy. I agree. I still understand that it is a double feature, so it is meant to be two separate stories. Get that. If that's the case, completely wrap up your first story to not have loose ends, so we don't anticipate that going into the back half of the season in part two.
Yeah. It was pretty it was pretty It's like honestly, it's like they started to write Red Tide and they were like, what if we do these last 4 episodes something completely different? So we got
Yeah.
to end Red Tide right here. We can't finish telling the story. Like, we don't know what the Muse Pill is. Like, we don't know. Do you remember, like, old school American Horror Story, like Murder House? Like, Murder House, we would meet these ghosts in there, and then we would find out their backstory, and then we would find out how they connect to the timeline currently. And like they're not doing that anymore. Like
No,
it's
they
it's
it's a lot of unanswered plot lines. Like I feel like they have someone said it earlier in the comments, they always go off to a really strong start. Like they hit the ground running and then they just fall on their face at the end.
yeah. Red Tide should have had 10 episodes.
Red Tide could have been its own entire season and I would have been happier and I think we all would have been better off for it.
Yeah, Red Tide should have had 10 episodes, and then Death Valley should have been like two American Horror Stories episode, 1 episode. You only need 1 episode to tell that story.
You really do.
You,
You can cut out
you know
with
what
a lot of filler. A
it
lot of
reminded me of, like an episode of Black Mirror.
yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Honestly, I liked the black and white, like the scenes that were in black and white. And again, once I went to present day, I was just like,
No one cares. That's
yeah,
what you were like. Like, we
because
don't
it
care
was
about.
no emotional investment with the characters, and I think a lot of that could play on performance and chemistry, but also you do have to deal with the writing aspect. It's a lot. The present day was a clusterfuck. I'm gonna be honest. Like
Yeah.
that's putting it lightly. I don't
Um,
know what happened there.
I think who was that said that?
Oh, NZ, completely
Yeah,
agree.
that was
1984
about.
had a solid ending.
It did. It
Yes.
did.
And that was one of those where it actually, like, for me, 1984 feels like separate movies almost.
Hmm.
Like the first few episodes feel like the original, then a sequel, and then you get like the finale, which is kind of like an epilogue
Yeah.
of sorts. It's one cohesive story. You kind of wrap up the loose ends. We find out the history of why the land's cursed and all the other good stuff. Like I think 1984 is actually a pretty solid season in the most recent seasons.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I just think that this, like, yeah, Danielle Lean, exactly what I was going to say. I could have had a whole season in past black and white scenes.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, like
Same.
because even like if they took out those time jumps and even like slowed them down a little bit and cleaned them up, like figure we already had with 4 episodes, we had that continuity error with Marilyn Monroe, with her being alive in 63, then an episode later dead in 62.
Yeah. It was. I hated it. I
Yeah,
hated
not only
it.
that, but I like the acting. Like the acting was really strong
In the
for
black and
black and
white.
white. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but again, it's a lot of seasoned actors.
Yeah, it was. Like, mm, I don't know. It's just like I I don't know. Like, I kind of agree with my pussy stinks bad that they purposely write bad endings. So we'll tune in again. But like, I'm to the point where I don't even really want to watch it anymore because I was so invested in Red Tide. And I was like, oh my God, this feels like one of the first seasons of American Horror Story. Like, this feels like Coven. This feels like Murder House, Asylum. And then it's like, like, damn, like, it had so much potential. And you can't help but be angry about that when you've been, a fan for a long time. Even if you just
Yeah,
started watching it and you get invested in these characters and then you don't know what happened to them. Like, as much of a asshole that Alma was, like, I want to know what happened to Alma.
phenomenal. She was phenomenal, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, like, what happened to her? Like, what happened to her? What happened to
Ding ding. What happened to the chemist? What happened to Eli? What happened to
like,
Ursula?
what was the pill even?
Yeah, like
Like,
we
what was
really
it?
we don't know. We didn't get answered.
Like, who did sanction this? And it's just like, uh, I don't know. Whoever gave this shit a green light, please don't do that again, please.
Yeah, no, seriously, totally agree. Side note, um, I totally should check this earlier when I asked Simon IV and or four. How did you ladies like Roanoke? I'm gonna answer that in my season ranking video, which is coming out this week. So be on the lookout for that. But how do you feel about Roanoke?
How do I feel? I did not like it at first. I've rewatched it since it aired, and I thought it's okay. It's one of my least favorite seasons, though.
Yeah,
It's
I
one
don't
of my
want to give
least.
away too much, but same. It's not super high up there.
Yeah.
But so that was essentially the episode. Since we've been kind of like roasting it for the most part, what are some highlights that you've had from the season or like favorite moments that you liked?
Um, my favorite moment from the season is probably mm, it's probably when Mickey pulled up in the red car. What was that car called? That mock
Oh, the
car?
Mach 5, the Mach
Yeah.
5 from Speed
When he
Racer.
pulled up in that car and he got out in his Gucci belt and shit, like he pulled up on Karen.
I was so happy.
That's one of my favorite parts, but it's Red Tide as a whole. I really loved Red Tide. First of all, Red Tide had fucking Evan Peters,
Hmm. Doing music
my favorite
numbers.
my favorite actor in AHS. So I really love that. And I thought the scene where Alma was bit her brother's leg or bit his foot was creepy.
Yes, it was so scary. You know what? I'll say I had a similar favorite. I love that scene with Mickey. But another one I really enjoyed was Ursula when she's in the bar and oh my gosh, Belle Noir and Austin come up to her and she just starts reading them and I'm like, I love
she,
her.
she was reading everybody.
I love that about her. She was just so sassy and she could just roast people. It was fun.
Oh, someone said patio furniture.
Yes, patio
Yes,
furniture.
patio
Oh,
furniture.
and yes, and all the musical duets, Miss T. I totally agree. Loved it. Oh, Finn. Finn was
He
phenomenal.
was. He was.
Oh, hold on,
Yeah,
sorry.
Red Tide had like the stronger cast,
Yeah,
the stronger storyline. Everything
that
was
was
stronger.
that was a good scene too. When the pale people surround Karen, forcing her to take the pill.
Oh, that was a good scene. That was a
Yeah,
sad scene though, like
yeah.
as far as like
Honestly,
Mickey.
try it, Nick. Yeah, you just put it. Yeah, Karen and Mickey were amazing.
Yeah. They
Sarah
were.
Paulson and Macaulay Culkin did oh my gosh, they did such a great job this
I
season.
hope Macaulay Culkin becomes a regular.
Oh, I do too. I want to see him again. Like I really, really want to see him again. Their story was just so tragic to me, and I loved it, and I wanted more of it.
Yeah. Romeo and
And,
Juliet.
I wanted to know what happened to her art.
Romeo and Juliet on meth.
Yeah, essentially.
But I love them.
I
They
do
were
too.
my favorites. And I
I
like
really
Belle Noire and Tate. Like Miss T said, the musical duets. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Belle Noire when she. Oh, actually, another favorite moment when Belle Noire kills her husband.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
Yeah, notice none of these favorite moments were in the second half because all the good parts were first.
Yeah. Like, all right, let's pick a favorite moment out of Death Valley.
Side note, I just want to agree with this one so I can think a little harder on that. Um, Neil McDonough is another regular we need. Yes. So for you guys that aren't too familiar, Neil McDonough was the actor that played Eisenhower.
Yeah.
And I like him. He's really good. So I would love to see him in more stuff. And you know what I mean? He knows how to play some diverse roles and act.
Yeah, I liked
Yeah,
him too.
he
Hmm.
knows how to act. That's really I like people that know what they're doing.
So
More of that.
one of my favorites, I'll say my favorite from Death Valley was a scene with him in it, and it was the hallway scene in the beginning where they found
Good.
Amelia. That was good.
Oh, I would say I'm trying to think. You're talking about the scene where it's like the head poppers, right?
The face suckers come out of that
Oh. Oh,
come out
that
of
scene. I like the scene in the hallway when like Shorty's just like popping heads left and right.
oh, the flow. Maria.
Maria, when Maria's just like popping everybody's heads, I was like, oh, I like
Yeah.
this.
No, I'm
It
talking
had
when
it,
he
it gave me hope at first because it came out. I was like, oh, we're coming out the gate swinging with this, and then,
yes.
but oh, actually,
Was it Lyndon B. Johnson? Who no, not Lyndon B. Johnson. Who
yeah,
was
no, no, I liked him. I liked Linda. Wait,
was it Lyndon B. Johnson?
with the cowboy hat.
Or he was like he went to the place and he was
Yeah,
like, "Holy Mother of God," or something.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was.
I
I was
liked
gonna mention that
him.
as well. When he pulls up, he's like, he's like, my name's Valiant Thor. He's like, and I'm Calamity Jane. I love that.
Yeah.
Loved that. He was really fun. But I was gonna say, the Marilyn Monroe when she's like hinting on the set, like it's a whole cover up, it's a conspiracy, the aliens, and I'm like, I like that because that's me.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am. I'm like, it's all aliens. Like,
Oh, speaking of like aliens and unexplained and all that stuff, guys, our podcast is out.
yes,
Preposterous AF. Go listen
yes.
to it.
You could check it out on all streaming platforms. So if you like, a little true crime, unexplained, unsolved, and unanswered mysteries and stuff like that, check us out. It's Preposterous AF, and new episodes drop on Mondays. You should definitely check out that first episode because
It's hilarious.
it's
It's us
hilarious.
it's us 2 and 2 of our other friends, and, um, Mandy and Alicia, if you guys watch Direwolf City, it's the Direwolf City 4. It's not on YouTube yet. We do plan to put it on YouTube, but it's on Spotify, Apple, like, you can basically just say, "Alexa, play Preposterous AF," and she'll play it for you. It's on Audible. It's on
Yes.
TuneIn, right? TuneIn with
Yes, it
Amazon?
is. Yes, it
Okay.
is. So yeah, you guys can check that out, and Direwolf City as well on Sundays. You can see us there with our other two co-hosts. And in regards to YouTube, we are looking for different like audio engineers, some editors and stuff like that to help us out. So if you're interested or you have any friends that are interested, you guys can email us at preposterousaf@gmail.com.
This
And
season was preposterous for.
this was a preposterous AF season because, yeah,
It was.
this is so much. You know what it is? I think they were just throwing like everything at the wall to see what stuck.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I like the Amelia Earhart
Hmm.
being linked to aliens. Dig it. All for that. Um, Moon landing being fake.
I
Same
like that
thing.
one.
All for that. Aliens being responsible for some like technology improvements. Yeah. Then yeah,
Everything
like
else was
much.
stupid. Everything else was they Forrest Gumped us.
They really did. I was gonna say Randy talks hard. Yes, they did Forrest Gump us, and I liked Forrest Gump, but there's a lot going on in that movie, and that's exactly what this is with the 4 episodes. It's just it's a lot.
Last, Miss T, I rank it the worst. The worst.
Again, I feel sorry for all this shameless self promotion, guys. That video, I'm gonna be ranking the seasons, so I'll share it then. I don't want to give anything away. Even though if you guys have been watching us, you probably already know what my number one choice is because I feel like that's obvious. But
I know what it is.
I know you know what it is. I know what yours is, and yours is coming.
And yours is I can't say it because you're gonna say it in your video.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we're so annoying. But yeah, oh, thank you. Burning Daylighter. They just want to turn everything into conspiracy. The Watergate on actually made my eyes roll. That was the
Yeah,
last.
yeah. I agree. Like that was corny.
Yeah,
Like why like we all know Watergate was real. Watergate wasn't a conspiracy theory. Stop. Don't try to make it Nixon was awful. Don't try to make it a conspiracy.
I like the line where they have Henry Kissinger like, oh, history will remember you better than your contemporaries, and I'm like, newsflash, it doesn't at all. Oh, actually, what do you think they did to Nixon to convince him to like work with them?
Told him he was going to be president. Before he was president?
No, afterwards, because remember how he was like, I'm gonna blow this whole thing out of the water
Oh,
and
oh.
be like,
Probably just threatened to kill him.
I think they probed him.
Probed him
Hmm.
like in his prostate.
Hmm. Like an anal probe, and
He
that's
got
why
he
he
got
decided
pegged.
to be
He got
giant.
pegged by Deep Throat. He got pegged by Mamie.
In Valiant Thor. Yeah, no, that's just my head canon. That's what happened because, yeah, he got his booty tickled, essentially.
I
Yeah,
love it. Love
yeah,
that for him.
NZ, same. I definitely think they tortured Nixon in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Highly suspect. Adina Porter passed on a role on Broadway just to get her throat slit by a child. I feel so bad for her. Another plot line that didn't get too much resolution to it.
Too much. It ain't got any.
Well, I mean, they found her body.
They framed, but did they frame
Yeah.
Belnoir?
Oh, they framed Henry.
Henry Hank? Yeah.
Yeah, they framed him. Henry or Harry? Why did I just forget Harry?
I just called him Hank.
Finn Whitrock. Gosh, so bad. So Finn, so Finn Whitrock's character. Yeah, they framed him. I guess
They
that was
did.
like the worst frame. Like they should have listened. They should have hired Joe Goldberg from You to help them with framing people.
He's so creepy.
He is, but
He's
if
so
you guys haven't seen You, I won't spoil anything yet. New season's out,
I just
but
hope. Yeah, I don't want to say anything that'll spoil it. What I was
yeah,
about
because
to
I'm
say.
like, yeah, like this isn't a huge spoilers, but um, yeah, no, they should have hired him to learn how to frame people because that was so sloppy.
Yeah, it was super sloppy.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel like kind of beating a dead horse here. So with that being said, we're gonna get it ready to wrap up. So if you guys have any like final questions you want us to answer, drop them below. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's
Oscar
okay.
Monroy. What happened to Marilyn? Um, the government killed her because it was a conspiracy on Nixon's orders. Oh, unless you're talking about the aliens, like what was? Yeah, because she mentioned she had an alien interaction, and they never really followed
What
up on
happened
that.
to Jamie? She was killed. And
Yeah,
it doesn't
well,
didn't make sense.
yeah, Jamie's dead.
It didn't make sense. It's sad that we won't be back to cover another episode of American Horror Stories until next year.
Oh, I know. And then to review The Boys when it comes back. I love y'all's reviews. Oh, thank you. I love The Boys. I'm not sure. Have you watched The Boys yet?
Not yet.
Girl, you have to watch it. It's so
How
good.
many
It's
seasons?
only two. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. And you'll get the head exploding reference that I brought up earlier. And oh, let's see. Oh, hold on. Totally agree with this. I still think Red Tide could have been a Salem's Lot style story and Death Valley just be its own season but written better.
I agree.
Actually, that reminded me, speaking of like Salem and stuff like that, the fact that they had all those like nods to pilgrims and having like old roots in Massachusetts, I'm starting to think that maybe they did start off like wanting to do a longer season and maybe because of like COVID regulations, they had to change it up. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm trying to help. Just trying to help, man.
I don't know. I don't know. I just hope it
Oh,
gets better.
yeah. Google Gobble. I said that right? Google Gobble. It's good turkey.
Google
All,
Gobble.
all Ryan Murphy needed to do was add 10 minutes to some episodes to make the seasons not so rushed. Yes. I think this episode definitely could have used an additional 10 minutes. Um, the finale of part one of Red Tide definitely could use an additional 10 minutes.
You know,
It was like the
like,
shortest runtime.
yeah, it was this one because the Red Tide episodes running time was a little longer. A
No,
couple
I'm
of
talking
them.
the last episode, the finale episode.
Mm,
That was
yeah.
like one of the shortest runtimes. And it's like you didn't even answer anything.
Yeah, I feel like when people in Hollywood like get successful, they sometimes get sloppy, maybe not on purpose, maybe it's just like goes to their head a little bit like, yeah, whatever I put out is what I put out. It's going to be good cuz I put it out. But
And
like
they're signed for 13 seasons.
so we have at least 2 more seasons of
Three.
AHS. Oh
Three,
yeah, this
sorry.
is 10. Yeah, this is 10. So we have at least 3 more. Um if the voting that he put on Instagram was any clue, one of them could be a Christmas themed, like a Christmas theme horror. Sirens was one of them. Aliens was one of them. Bloody Mary was one of them. He had like 6 different choices. Aliens and Sirens were at number 1.
All right. So hopefully, yeah, because I thought we were getting sirens based off of like some of the promotional thing, but should have known better than that. They always like to do misdirects with their
Yeah.
promotional footage.
Yeah.
And oh, Bill saying the same. They made poor Kaya into a jacked up Funko Pop. They really did.
Well,
Well,
that's it. That's all, folks.
oh, yeah, I know. I'll say that. That's kind of it for tonight. So yeah, check us out our new podcast, Preposterous AF, on all streaming and podcast platforms. Episode 1 is out now, and episode 2 drops on Monday, and new episodes every Monday after that. You can also check us out Sunday nights on Gray Areas channel for Direwolf City. So if you're into, like Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, all that good stuff, we're
Oh,
gonna
you
be
do your
talking House of
first
the
super
Dragon. Oh, I
chat.
did. I was gonna say that after I finish plugging.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
8:30 Eastern time. You can check us out there. Also, Aaliyah Williams, thank you for my first ever super chat. I should put this like on a wall, on a frame. I was so confused the whole season. Us too. Uh,
Us too, babe. Us
you were.
too.
I had my notes to try to stay on track, and they went from being like super long notes to being like 3, 4, 5 page notes to 2. So
Yeah. And
You're
like
not
Red Tide had me like theorizing and like had my brain working and stuff. And then this
same.
Death Valley was like, don't care. Ew.
Yeah, no, I was like really digging deep with Red Tide, going through past seasons, trying to hook things up, doing all sorts of investigations, and here we
I
are.
I like Jeremy Cuprerson's comment. All that time wasted on the four college kids was for nothing. They literally could have introduced them tonight. They literally could have because no
They
one
could
cared
have.
about them. No one
They
cared about them.
absolutely could have done that. There was really no need to focus on that. Like I liked Calico
Yeah.
way more. She had a, like, I don't know. I was more invested in her story than anybody else's in that back half.
Yeah.
Well, I should say the present day back half.
But like even though they were present in all four episodes, like no one cared. And I was more like mad when it would go from the black and white parts to them like, ugh, why are we here again? We don't
Like,
care about you. You're pregnant with an alien baby. We don't care.
yeah, I honestly would have like just preferred, 2 episodes in the past, maybe 2 episodes in the present. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, figure it out. I just I wasn't feeling it. But oh, Leah Williams, thank you again. You're welcome for your first super chat. Thank you for my second super chat for the first super chat. You're so awesome. But yeah, we are going to get ready to wrap up. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. And for you, those of you tuning in afterwards, um, let us know how you guys felt about the season. If you felt differently than us, I'd be surprised. But, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I will be having my ranking video coming out this week. So be on the lookout for that. Gray, any announcements?
No announcement, guys. I'm like knee deep in covering House of the Dragon. I also did a review on the Michael Myers Halloween's Kills. I thought it fucking sucked. If you want to watch my review, it's on my channel if you care about that. But other than that, just have House of the Dragon and Obsidian Nights coming up, like Ara said, Preposterous and Direwolf City.
Yeah, so check us out on both of our channels. So obviously you're here, I Zebra, and you can check her out at Gray Area. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.